Welcome back to another episode of Riffing with the Sappers, our first one of 2024.
First one, 2024, at least is coming out on 2024.
And now we're taking the channel back over from the hostile takeover.
What hostile takeover? I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw that. I saw that. I see you. I
I
see
see
you.
you. Not in a
Not in a
good
good way,
way,
but
but
I
I
see
see you. This is becoming family lore.
you. Today we're going to review a game that occurred back the weekend before Halloween, so October 22nd. I didn't actually get the team names. It was very, very rainy. We got Deluge, the game, I think, immediately before this. This game, though, occurred immediately after that. It was U16 Girls, so 2008s, and it was a tournament, so shorter hag. So let's get going. Getting this game going, I was the center referee. Katie was the assistant referee on the far side of the field, and then we had a referee about my age, Ted, who was on the near side of the field, and enjoy working with him. We've worked with him in other tournaments. Let's get going. In the first minute of this match, we've got our first decision. The ball is up for grabs, and these two girls are going to be challenging for it. And right there, we see that the person in green, they both kind of go shoulder to shoulder. But if I just kind of play that in slow motion, you see an initial extension of green's arm that sends red down, kind of falling there. So pretty easy decision. And we get the game going with an easy one.
A little while later, we have an offside decision made by me. So right there is the moment of decision, and it's going to go to that player, that red player over in that corner. And we can see that this is kind of a bad angle, that she is behind the defensive line. So when the ball gets passed to her, I call an offside decision.
And it's really hard to see because I mentioned the rain, it's fuzzy up here, but you can just make out the red there. Carrying on in this game, our next moment happens on the far side of the field. This red and green player are going to battle for it, and as it goes there, red kind of locks up green's arm. We'll kind of see it here if I play it in slow motion. She holds her arm there, and green's arm was out. They were kind of one of those where they're in together, but then red just kind of clamps it to her and keeps her from getting away. So call that. As this game carries on, we're going to talk about a goal here. And normally we don't talk about goals on the channel, but this one presented a particular challenge for us in the match. One, it was raining pretty heavily, and so it was difficult to see, and you're sopping wet and trying to move around and stuff.
Mhm.
And the second thing was that the nets weren't great at this tournament. And so we're going to watch as Green's attacking. She comes in and strikes the ball, and then the goalkeeper tries to save it. And whatever actually happens is the ball comes to the back of the net and squirts out from underneath. Now I'm trailing behind that and trying to see through the rain and everything, and just catching up. And I see the ball on the back side, and I thought, maybe the ball just, she hit it with her hands and it went just outside of the post. So you end up seeing me come in, and I actually signal for a goal, but I do end up, maybe I'm not 1,000% sure. I end up running over and I talk to Ted on this sideline. So Ted ends up confirming, yes, it was a goal. So one of those things, particularly in like an adverse environment here, like with the rain and everything, it's extra important that you work together as a crew. So Ted saved me here. We end up getting this call right. Also, kind of funny in this one, if you watch me coming back from talking to Ted here, just as this girl drop kicks a descendant to the center, you see me duck my head. Normally, I would think I was dodging like a bee or something, but I don't know what I was doing here. I don't know. Maybe I heard the kick and I thought the ball was coming for me or whatnot, but something happened there.
Dodgeball connoisseur.
Yeah, so I just ducked out of nowhere in there. So as this game progresses, we get to our next decision point. We've got one of these that I always say is what I think for me is one of the hardest calls on the field to make as a referee. It's when an attacker is coming in and a goalkeeper is coming out to make the save, and they get to the ball at almost exactly the same time, and you've got to make a decision about what happens. So here, Red's coming in. Both this keeper, if I play it in slow motion, both this keeper and this red player get to the ball at exactly the same time. The ball even kind of stops dead there. Keeper jumps on it. I end up making that a no call because I honestly just thought they got there together. But it's one of those things where my mind is always on high alert when I see that kind of thing happen, because just microseconds of who got to the ball first, or even if they miss time their jump or just miss the ball and get the other player instead of the ball, you got to be on the lookout for that. And this one, I think it's fine for it to be a no call. I don't see anything there that would tell me otherwise.
I concur.
But I do end up coming in as they get up. I come in and I kind of tell that player in red as she's walking away. I say, "Hey, look, you gotta. If it's clear that the keeper's going to get there, we want to protect the keeper. So you might want to, pull up if it's going to be that close in the future." Here in the 13th minute of this game, the green is on a big breakaway, and we're going to watch here. This player comes in, she gets the ball, gets a nice shot in. She gets to this ball first before the keeper shoots the ball, it goes in. Again, it's another one of those close situations. And even though there's some contact after, she definitely had that, and, keeper actually tripped her afterwards, but in this case, we're going to give her the goal. Now, normally, again, we don't review goals on the channel, but part of the reason I want to bring this up is it leads to some stuff later. So you'll notice here, this red player is complaining about how their keeper got, she thinks, fouled here. Now, watching the video and what I saw in real time, I don't think there's any foul there at all. And if there was a foul, it was actually the keeper who fouled the attacker. And so I end up coming in. She's really, animated about this. I did find out later that these two teams had played earlier in this tournament and there had been some chippiness in that game as well. So anyway, I come and I talk to her and I hear her out a little bit on what her concerns are. And she's just like, "Oh, my keeper, you got to protect my keeper." And I'm like, "Look, she got to the ball first. Keeper came out. There's no foul there." So this ends up being kind of important later in the match. Carrying on to the 17th minute of this game, green is on the attack again, and because the rain, you can't really see the ball, but it's over here on this side. And then green comes through there. Red defender gets position on her, and green just kind of pushes her down there after she establishes that position. So pretty easy call there, and really nothing controversial about that one.
Our next decision is going to be an offside call. So right there, he decides to be a turtle and goes like,
Get out of the way, get out of the way.
POV me when your arm hairs touch me during one of these videos. Exactly. So he was like turtling up, but around here, I think, was the moment of decision. And so it gets passed to this one girl in green over there, which we can tell from her positioning right now on the field that she's in an offside position. And so when the ball gets passed to her, she touches the ball and we call it for an offside, which I think is a good decision.
Yep, for sure. In the 27th minute, Green is on a strong attack here, and she kind of loses the ball. And then when she comes back, she really kind of lowers her shoulder and hits this red player. And when I was really, I call her for a charge here. And, I honestly, looking at that, it's close to shoulder. But I felt that one, red got the ball here and cleared it out. But I also felt like green initiated a lot more contact there than was really necessary. That she was out to mete out some, for lack of a better term, some pain. Like she wanted to seek out the content, which
She doesn't believe in
contact.
karma, she is karma.
Yeah. Now I do end up when this comes around. Obviously, I call the foul. I give it to the defensive team, and then if we fast forward just a little bit here, I actually come up and I speak to her a little bit. Now, at this point, it is actually pretty obvious to me in this match that Green is the better team overall. They're only winning 2-0, but they had really dominated time of possession. And you could feel a little bit of the chippiness on the field. So I just talked to her a little bit and just say, "Hey, look, that kind of contact, it's not necessary. Yeah, let's just take a chill pill on that one for the rest of the game." In the 28th minute, about a minute later, we've got another attack happening. Defense gets it there, but I really felt like this green player first, she gives a push there in the back that kind of pushes red off the ball, and then she clips her on her ankle, so kind of double jeopardy there. End up calling that and
So pretty
granting.
easy call.
In the final seconds of the first half, we've got an interesting one with some chippiness kind of away from the ball. It's going to start with this green player here who's got possession, and then this red defender over here to the side who comes in and challenges for it. And then right here, they kind of battle for it, and then let me just play it in slow motion. They kind of get tangled up. So red's in the way, green sort of gets her arms around her. Red pushes back, and in all honesty, there's probably a couple, you could argue there's fouls there. I kind of thought it was just 50-50 them fouling each other, so I let it play. But then right there, this green player like sticks her elbow out like she tries to hit this red player. Now, from my angle, and I had a pretty, reasonable angle on it there. I didn't think she connected. You don't see her head snap back. You see red, so see something happen there. But I was processing what had happened there. I was processing first the initial contact, I'm getting tangled up, and then the elbow. And I don't end up calling it immediately. And I knew it was the final seconds of the half, and I'm just processing. I let it play for a second or so here, and then I think right in here I blow it dead. And for the half, yep, I blow it dead there. And then I end up actually coming back and I find that player and I come and I give her a yellow card for that attempt to strike. I suppose there's an argument to be made for that I should have just called it immediately, but I was processing and then just wanted to see what had happened. Let me know in the comments, was that a major mistake? We've talked about it a little bit here. I'm not going to take a deduction on it, but it is a correct decision to give her the yellow card. The only reason I'm not taking a deduction there, she didn't actually connect. Um, but and I did see it and eventually come back to it. Katie, what do you think on that one?
I think that even though that you should have called it earlier, you ended up doing the right thing by stopping the play and giving her the card.
So then that takes us into halftime. At halftime, it started raining quite a bit heavier, so you'll see a little bit more of that on the camera, at least for the first part of the second half. And we talked about as a crew how the game was fairly chippy, and we were seeing some of that here in those final calls. So anyway, we wanted to call it tight in the second half, and let's get it going. In the 35th minute, we've got our first decision of the second half. Ball's coming in on this throw in. The green and red player are going to challenge for it. And then right there, as they're turning, green just kind of gives a shove away. Doesn't shove her down, but it's enough to gain an advantage. And actually, this is one where I couldn't really see that from where I was in the field because I would have been looking through their bodies. But Ted on this sideline, he would have had a really good angle, and he ended up helping me out with that one. So we do end up calling that back and giving Red a direct free kick.
Our next decision is going to be a major decision on the field. So, though this doesn't look like much, I'm on this side and I'm like running up to go and try to see what's going on. And then I realize something about the box. The field has like really not distinct lines, so they're pretty faded. But I'm on the line, I can see it relatively well compared to this camera. And what I see is that she's actually outside of the penalty box handling the ball. And the green player had a really good opportunity to get the ball. It was really only her and the goalie at that point, and the goalie actually handled it outside of their area. And so because of that, it would be a handball on the goalie, but not only that, it'll be a red card for DOGSO in that situation. So I end up calling him over, and once he realizes that, I think he looks over at me. Eventually, I have my flag raised up. He looks, and I basically say that the goalie is outside of the box handling the ball and should be a red card.
Now, this player was injured, so call the coach out to help her out. But while he's dealing with that, I'm going to flash forward a little bit here. While he's dealing with that, I call the keeper over and I start explaining to her. I say, look, you realize that you handled the ball outside the box, you stopped her, and because of that, I've got to give you a red card. And then I go ahead and give her the red card. Now, this is a game you hate to have to do one of these in this
Yeah.
types of games because it's clearly a blowout game. It's 3-0 green, but it's not even that close of a game. And now red is going to be down their keeper.
And down another player.
It's unfortunate for them, but it is just the laws of the game. This also ends up being, at least for me, one of the what they say the referee bingo cards of the unique scenarios that happen that don't happen very often. DOGSO on a keeper for handling the ball outside of the penalty area to stop an attack. Yep, that's definitely on the referee bingo card. This was the first time I had had that happen in a game, so yeah, checks that box. Yeah, so this will end up being a correct decision for the foul, a correct decision for the card, and a correct decision for the red card. And thanks, Katie, for watching the line there and making sure that we know. Carrying on to the 44th minute, we've got on the far side of the field, this green player is about to turn and head up on a breakaway, but then red just kind of clips her here on the ankle and she goes down. Really easy tripping foul there to call, and we get going. A couple minutes later, we've got red here on the far side of the field, about as far over there by Katie as we can possibly get, and she's got the ball. And then right there, the screen player coming up behind her just clears her out. Like, just right after she kicks the ball up to her teammate, just goes through her back, sends her down. Definitely very reckless and unsporting. So called up foul, and then if I run over, try to zoom in on it here, run over, call her over and say, hey, look, that is too much. We're not going to be doing that. And she tries to argue. I don't know what she's arguing. I think it was something like, well, she pushed me earlier or something like that. But
Actually.
yeah, for me, the yellow cards don't get a lot easier than that there. Down on the other end of the field, red has got a kind of a promising attack going on here, and this red player number 9 here is going to take a shot, but just as she takes it, this green player kind of goes through her back. And I think at the time I thought that I was just giving her the shot and it was a little bit lighter contact. But looking at it here on the video with the benefit of this angle, which would have had a better angle than I had on the field, I kind of think, especially given the temperature of this game and how, there had been some rough play,
How much they're losing by.
probably should have called that one there. So we're gonna take a deduction on that one.
Our next decision is going to be offside. This is the moment of decision. It's really awkward because this camera angle is looking through those players, doesn't really have the right angle on the line. I was perfectly on that line, and I think that it's just because like this camera angle is a little bit awkward that doesn't look offside.
Yep. We'll go straight to her.
Yep, and you can see when she's running, she's pretty far behind her as well.
Yep. Moving into the 50th minute of the match, Red's got an attack going here, and she comes through, and right there she goes down. But if I go back here to the moment that this happens, the ball, she kind of kicks it out away from her, so it kind of loses the possession. And then now this ball's up for grabs, and you've got this green player comes in, and she actually gets this ball, and then red runs into her. And it looks really dramatic. I mean, she goes down hard, but given that the green player had gotten the ball that was kind of up for grabs and had established a position, it really felt like it was red who initiated most of that contact there. So it's a fine nuance sometimes when you look at those. Like, is it one seeking out the contact from the other? But again, sometimes those microseconds make a difference of who got to the ball first. And I felt like this was a reasonable one to just let in there. Not more than 15 seconds after the last decision, we've got red on an attack here. The ball is kind of coming out, and this keeper and this red attacker are going to be going for it. And as we play it here, right there, the keeper actually gets the ball, and this red player is still a step or two away from her. And unfortunately, I jumped forward there. Yeah. And she ends up going into her. I kind of felt like when I saw that there was enough time that red could have jump a little more over her, right? And instead, it almost seemed like she tried to go down and into that keeper a little bit. So I end up calling a foul there and giving it to the green team. But I also come in and I give a yellow card to this player for what I think is a reckless play. And I seek out this player here to the right. You'll see I'll come up and I'll talk to her. Yeah, the camera zooms back over. But I end up talking to her for a few seconds. And basically, she was the team captain for green. And I kind of explained to her, I say, look, you guys are clearly in control of this match. And it's clearly a chippy game. And they're looking for reasons. And you guys have played pretty rough with them too. So, look, just can you, for the rest of this game, I'm worried about it getting out of hand. I'm worried about that type of contact we just saw. Can you work with your team to just kind of dial it down a notch on your side so that you can, not provoke the red team who's already down a player and they're already losing. And let's just, play as good sports and try to. So it was one of my ways of trying to go there. She was very receptive. She did talk to her team afterwards, but we will see red continues to get agitated as this game goes on.
Our next decision is going to be an offside call. Again, made by me. The best they are. So here's the moment decision. I think that's very clearly that the green player is offside. I don't think we need a lot of commentary for that. So when we play it, she ends up getting the ball. I wait a little bit to see if she's going to get it, and I call the play as offside.
So, kind of under a minute after that offside call, the ball is kind of ping ponging around here, and then red there kicks this ball and it hits this green player here. And I don't know if her arm's out or not, but I can't really tell if it hits her in the hand and then drops. It kind of looks like it hits her in the shoulder blade and drops. People kind of stop playing like they're expecting to call some. I don't know, maybe I missed something. I end up letting that play. This is one where I wish I had the audio microphone working, but because it had been raining so much, I was not going to put it on in this game. But what ends up happening after this is if you look at, I think it's this player right here,
It
she's the
is.
one who got the yellow card earlier for reining the keeper. So you can see she's already starting to be like, what's going on? How are you not calling that? How do you miss it? How do you possibly? And then I let it play here. And then if we kind of zoom in right here, you can kind of watch her. She kind of looks back at me and says something else. Have a vague memory that I basically told her, like, look, you're already on a yellow. Don't earn yourself a second yellow by doing something foolish. And, look, hey, uh, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to. And she's be like, well, fine, it's fine. Just send me off. Just send me off. I don't want to be here. Just send me off. So that's where she's kind of saying this. So I'm like, oh, okay. Look, at this point, I'm thinking, if I let her stay in this match, if she's that agitated, is she gonna lash out and hurt somebody? And after that earlier yellow card, which maybe I should have talked to her then. Yeah, I end up giving her that yellow. It is her second yellow of the match, so I end up giving her the red. And now they're down two players, but
And down 4.
I think that's the right call to send her off for Dissent. On the whole thing that got it started, I just don't think that there was enough there. In the video, I don't see anything that says that I missed it other than just watching the player's body language. It says maybe, but yeah, I don't think there's enough there to call that back. So we're going to call that the correct decisions. Okay, in the 58th minute, with just a couple of decisions left in this match, we've got one here that, again, people start to get agitated here at the end of the game, but we see, the players go down here. I end up granting the kick here to green. Red's upset that why am I doing that? But if we go back and play this here, what I saw is right here, green's actually got position, and then red gives her a push there and then pushes again through her back in order to send them down. Now, you see green lands on top of red after everything's all said and done, so that's why red's upset. They're already mad at me because I've sent off two of their players. They want to know why am I giving it to green. This is, a bunch of malarkey, all that fun stuff. But looking at the video here, it kind of confirms what I thought I saw on the field, which is that red initiated that contact, and I got to give it to him. In our final decision of this game, we have one that actually Katie and I can't quite agree on here. So I knew this, this has become a chippy game, so I'm really tightening it up as the game goes on. Yeah, I'm just watching it really closely here. And this ball is kind of bouncing here at the green player's feet. Red is coming into challenge here. And then right there, green kicks it away. And you see the green player go down after red comes in contact with her. But if we watch that again in slow motion, green kicks it away. I kind of felt that the red player came in and gave her like a hip check there to effectively charge into her and send her down.
I would disagree.
Mhm.
So, based on the momentum that she has going into that player, it's not a lot at all. Like, she's basically slowed down to a halt when she actually gets to the green player. Like, you can see she just like turned around. So, I don't think that she had enough momentum to be able to like get her. I personally think it's kind of hard to see because like there's number 4, the green player, in the way. I don't think like the other player had like that much momentum to actually hip check the green girl. And so I think it might have just been a flop by the green player knowing that there was contact.
I kind of felt like on the field that it was a foul, and I was doing it some for game control, even if it was a light foul. You're saying you think it's kind of more natural.
Yeah.
So,
So tell us what you think.
yeah, tell us in the
But
comments.
that
Who's
it
right? Who's right?
me.
Uh,
He even pointed to me.
so, because we can't agree, we're going to follow the rules of the channel. We're going to take a half a point deduction on that one. So, shortly after that final call, we end up blowing the game dead at the end. So that was an interesting one. It had quite a bit going on. The one
Quite a lot
team,
of yellow cards, quite a lot of red cards as well. It was a very high temperature game just because of the goal differential and the red cards that we ended up giving to the team that was down.
and I think some history between these teams coming into that.
And some history between the teams. But with that, that concludes our game. With 25 decisions and 1.5 deductions, weird number, that gives us a final Sapper score of 94.0%. Straight on the money. So this was a pretty good game, bordering on great potentially.
Getting 2024, at least our 2024 reviews started off right, even though this game happened in October.
But with that, that concludes our game for this week. Join us next Friday for next game review, Sapper Short, or potentially a hostile takeover. We never know, but there are no hostile takeovers because he's not supposed to know about them. But that concludes our game. I'm Katie.
And I'm Scott.
And we'll see you out on the pitch. Great, I'm out. What do you think of this lip shade?
It's lipstick on my little girl. I hate it.
It's not even lipstick.
What is it?
It's lip gloss.
It's lip gloss on my little girl. I hate it. 6. What are you doing?
I'm cracking my knuckles. Alright. I wonder if I can get some pops out of this real quick.
Now the real question is, will that come across as a joint pump or a fart?
Okay, but like the hair is kind of on point right now.
Are you done snapping?
I'm just taking pictures because like the hair's on point, you know?
Can we start recording yet?
Not yet. This lip shade, it would work great for fall season. I don't think any cute guys watch this channel, so. Good decision made by the best AR in the world.
Best AR on this field, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, where to next?
Best AR in this county. So, I have some New Year's resolution stuff to tell you about because, wait, why isn't it loading? Search, god damn it.
As long as we're telling jokes, do you know why diarrhea is genetic?
What? No.
Because it runs in your genes.
Oh. Okay, guys. So, New Year's stuff. I have some very important news. Because guess what I just pulled? Like, I may be an idiot, but look what I just pulled. More.
What are they even looking at?
It's big news. It's a push door. Do you get the joke?
No.
Because pulling is basically like you pull someone means that like you get someone to like you.
Pushing
But since I don't have that,
Mm.
look what I just pulled. Push door.
Okay.
Why do you have your hat like all the way like up here?
So I wear it.
We
Why do you
need
have your head all the way down like this?
because it looks cuter that way.
Does it?
Yeah. Gets rid of the big forehead I got from you.
Alright. Pull it. Offside Queen, do you want to commentate this one?
I'm not the queen, I'm the god.
Mm-hmm.
So underestimate
Goddess. Offside goddess. You're taking a photo literally up your nose.
Solid.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, this filter makes me look like so cute. Like that. Like, don't actually bother reading like the thing, but like